Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? We're back, another edition of KAHUNA'S Corner between two sticks. So big interview today, going into first week of playoffs here, first round. The pullout king, yeah. Shout out to RJ audio clip. Yeah, Mayday, Mayday. It's a big one. It's a big one. Um, yeah, I put that clip together. Just kind of found some song and a bunch of big goal calls and kind of tracked them over top of it, but didn't know if maybe I get caught for some sort of I don't know if they would give me any strikes towards the audio because it's not mine. But here we are. I've used it a couple times. We're good to go. But all right, let's get into today's interview. So um, here's the set between two sticks. Host Big Kuno 3. That's me. So this will be the third interview that we're doing, and we'll get into it here. Okay, so as we get into this, joining the show today, his team owned the OHL the Midwest Division. He is an AHL Division champion, a one-time AHL Player of the Week. He won a silver medal last WJC, and he's my opponent for the first round of the CHL playoffs. Welcome the owner of the Kitchener Rangers SpadsYo. Welcome, man. Thanks for doing this. How you doing?
How's it going? Thanks for having me, Kuna.
Yeah, no worries. I know you were one of the guys that reached out really early saying you'd be interested in doing it, and I know we've talked about a couple of dates, and now we finally last minute decided, hey, let's do this thing today. What better timing, right?
Exactly.
Right on.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And just to start things off here, just give me 1 second. We're gonna have some fun.
We all like fun, that's for sure.
There we go. All right.
There it is. Look at that again, dude. Come on, you're the gift. You're like the Santa Claus of the channel, man. Another 10 gifts. Thanks so much for doing that, dude. You didn't have to do that. Uh,
Yeah, it's all good.
That's sweet. So now we'll let these roll through, but I'm just gonna shout out to who got them. So Plimmy, Deadpan Dan, Johnny, the Pullout King, Mikey Ryan West, CJ, Godden, Shane, Sinking, and Loxies. So thanks for doing that, man. I appreciate that. That's huge.
Hey man, thanks for doing the media.
For sure, for sure, for sure. So the way we usually start one of these is give us one random or interesting fact about you.
Let's go. Random fact about myself. Um, I am a mortgage broker, so the photo that you actually have is off my business card. So mortgage officer, or sorry, mortgage broker, or loan officer is what it's called in the States. So whenever you're buying a house, hit me up. I'll get your mortgage for a cheap rate for you.
Oh, that is an interesting fact, and I guess why not sell yourself? And what perfect timing! I think we're gonna have a conversation. I got mortgage renewal coming up here in the next little bit, so
Oh, there we
there you
go. There
go.
we
You're
go.
making business already. Okay, so let's talk about the beginning. How did you first hear about LG, and what made you sign up?
Oh man. Believe it or not, I've been around for a long ass time. I'm talking back to VHL days. And this is like when 12s lobbies were a thing, like OTP lobbies were a thing back in NHL. And I remember just being in a lobby and some guy, his gamer tag was Sergeant Hondo, was was I played a 12s game with him, and he basically said, "Hey man, you should sign up for this league," and signed up, played VHL, and then was part of the merger, and it's been playing LG ever since.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. So for the guys that don't know, let's let them know what the significance of like the VHL was, like because you mentioned, hey, we were part of this VHL thing. So you want to maybe just kind of give some background on what that was?
Yeah, I mean VHL is pretty much the same thing. They had a site. They used to do all the stats. Every single player had to have their stats put in individually by the management. There was a stat system. There was a website that was used. Like it was very like it was advanced, but it was thrown together. Like this is I'm talking like maybe 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago I've been playing. So it's been a while. But basically, it was kind of like the stepping stone to what LG is. You had a lot of the big names that are still playing in the NHL now, like the Odies and the Blue Line Kings and all those guys. Like they were part of VHL, and they kind of ushered the way back in LG and kind of let our community now grow to what it is.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So being in it this long, like what's this most significant change that you've seen to the league since you started?
Um, Jeez. I think most significant change I've seen has has just been the people, right? Like it's you see so many. Like I look at it now. I'm 33. I started playing. I was like I said, yeah, maybe like 16, 17, right? So I've been playing for a while, and you know, you're so used to the same people, but you see how much the community still grows. And now I look back at it, and I'm like, shit, I was one of these kids that's trying to play now. And back then in VHL and even early on in LG, there was no CHL, there was no TC leagues. So it was even more difficult to get on a team. It was hard to get games in, and it's even harder now because of the amount of people that are in the community and the amount that it's continued to grow. And I think the guys like, I mean, I've got McDonald on my team and Buck and all those guys. Like they do a lot of work. The Bogs in all the leagues, they do a lot of work promoting it. So. um, it's yeah, like it's great to see and it's crazy to see how much it grows.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And even since I've been here, I've seen so many people join, and yeah, I can't imagine being a bog that has to manage that many people in a league. So, especially when half of us are all we do is complain when we have something. So, I noticed when I was kind of looking at your stats and whatnot, you were primarily in the AHL up to about season 36. It looks like. What changed in the game that brought you down to the C?
um so I was on a team, and it was, believe it or not, with the neutral line that I've got. Datsuk and Deke was there, and Colonel 20 was the GM, and we were on Providence. And I was going away on vacation, and I gave my my gamer tag login to another guy that was on the team. He ended up playing a playoff game for me, and then I ended up having to eat a ban for it. So I had a 3 season ban, bought out, still wasn't allowed to play for 3 years. There's like a 3 season gap somewhere in my stats. And then when I just came back, it was just different. So I dropped both leagues, and then ended up being in the CHL, and then got picked up, got moved around. I got stuck on some really, really bad CHL teams, and then that just made me decide to take ownership, and just been doing that since.
Nice. Yeah, no, I didn't even know about that band thing, to be completely honest with you. I didn't even see that on your record. So that's crazy. That's crazy. But hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I guess you learned your lesson. And here you are now owning the top team in the Midwest division. So that's awesome. Um, what season up to this date was your most enjoyable and why?
Um, Jeez. I'm gonna have to say my first season being an owner. So season 39 in Hamilton, taking ownership. I had Emery as my GM. Rest in peace to his soul, because his LG career is done. But yeah, was definitely the funnest season. It was getting into something new. It was a new challenge for me. I enjoyed having to build a team, make trades, do all that kind of fun stuff. And it was really refreshing. We ended up winning our division, um, and it was just an enjoyable season. It's always fun when you're winning games.
Yeah, for sure. Was that the season there was some controversy on the team where guys got banned and whatnot, or was that the season after?
No, that was last year,
Okay.
where yeah, typical Teal and
Yeah.
his whole line quit.
Right, right, right. Okay. Um, sweet. So I asked everybody. I'll ask everybody this question too. What do you think makes a good manager in this league?
Honestly, so from my experience, I mean, I've been doing it for 3 years. You got to be able to adapt. Calgary got it today, and somebody got banned in an upper league, and they got somebody called up. You've got to always understand that, especially in the CHL, when you're at the bottom of the 3 leagues, you can lose a player at any time. You have to be able to adapt to that, to understand that, to be ready for whatever gets thrown at you, right? Guys can take a ban, guys get traded, guys whatever, and you always kind of have to just pay attention to what's going on in the league above you. I would say look at your roster, look at their AHL teams, see where they are, see what kind of players they have, because that's where you're likely going to see who's getting called up or who could potentially get called up, right? Like I knew, some of the players that are on my roster, they're not moving because there's no cap space in the AHL for them, even if somebody gets banned. So knowing that, allows you to have the mindset where you can make certain moves to better your roster without giving up those guys, and it makes you understand, kind of where you're going to be in the next week or next 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. And I think there is a lot of managers in today's world that still don't do their homework when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I mean, my follow up question is always like, what advice would you give to the manager? But that sounds like you just gave really good advice there, right? Like making sure you're doing your homework, looking at, more than just the trade itself, or more than just getting a guy itself, right? Like looking at all that other stuff. That's a really good point.
Yeah. The other piece of advice, like, I mean, Portland did it this year. Chip went out and spent 8 million on a defenseman. Yeah, he's won all of his games, but that can either make or break you, right? Like, don't just look at somebody's stats and say, I got to get this guy. I got to get this guy, right? Like, players have high stats because of who they play with or because of the situation that they're in. So if you're going out and dropping all your cap space on certain guys, I mean, Erie did it with Teglia and his brother like this year,
Yeah.
right? Like they spent 4.5 on each of them or 4 million on each of them, and you got two guys that, yeah, they're good players, but they really suffered in that system because everybody else wasn't, to the standard that they were playing with previously.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in some scenarios it's not fair to the player either. And I'll give an example here. The one of them in the chat right now saying VHL dot 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 you old is T Noose, and that we know T Noose has gotten bid up to a really high number over the last few seasons. Thank God he didn't this season so that he can enjoy playing, but he ends up finding himself with a really high cap, and then maybe he doesn't perform to the level that they wanted him to, and then they send him down, and nobody else can help him out because the contract's so big, right?
Exactly.
Grigley's saying 6.5 combined for both of them. I'm assuming the two guys you were talking about on Erie there, Teglia.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't even.
right on. Question that I have to ask is, how is it having the league commissioner on your team? Like, what benefits do you get from that?
Honestly, there is absolutely zero benefit to having. I had Boggs on my team. I had Brody on my team since the beginning. I mean, the quick and easy benefit is when you are looking to get like a quick answer on something, as opposed to sending a site DM and doing all that. I've reached out, right? Most of the guys are good. Most of the blogs are good if you send them a PM or a DM on Discord, anyways. But just having somebody that understands the league, it's a huge help, right? Like it's a huge help for an owner. But most of the time, like it's not really any benefit. They don't see what's coming up. They don't tell you like they're good that way. Like and Brody's got all the information in the world from this league, and he does a good job at separating his team from his league responsibilities, and that's exactly what we wanted for him. So um, it's yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I guess there's some benefits there, especially like knowing the rules cold, right through, right. So, like even this year where he found the loophole on ragging a puck. So, um, that was it's nice to have those guys on your team, I guess, that they when they know that kind of stuff. Because I know sometimes when I don't know exactly what's going on, or maybe I have to check something, I dig through the rule book or whatnot, and I guess he'd be a good source to just be like, hey, what do you think about this, or what's going on with that, right? So that's
yeah.
good.
I mean, the biggest thing is our management, Showtime and myself play on the same line. Datsyuk plays on another one, and then McDonald played on a third one. It was kind of like having a fourth manager, where like he would handle restarts or lagouts, whatever it was. Like he was able to talk to the other owner and get it done. It wasn't, hey, I need you to go message this guy and do this. So it was a big help not having to worry about babysitting if we needed to.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure. Awesome. Now this is the one we needed to get into. I'm super excited to hear about this, but talk to me about this trade reversal with Vancouver. What happened? How did it happen? What happened? And how do you feel today now that you've had some time to think about it?
To be honest with you, I'm like, I don't know. I'm over it. Um, I'm not surprised that CJ got it reversed or tried to get it reversed. Basically, we traded him a guy, Films, and Films had 9 out of 9 availability, but he asked me if he could have one day, a set day that he would have to take an overtime shift at work. So I said, yeah, no problem. So I always had it Sundays, Mondays he would play, Tuesdays he would take off, he would work overtime. So he was our backup goalie. He was playing 3 games, either Sunday or Monday. That was it, which I explained to CJ. CJ went in, put him in on Easter Sunday. Films had gone away for family for Easter dinner. And when he came back, he had missed the games. He missed 2 games, and they put a ban through right away. Before that, the second that trade was made, there was guys, Vahi or whatever his game today, I think it's Vahi or Vahi, was like ripping into CJ in the chat box, right? Um, we needed a new owner. Our owner's an idiot. He was saying all this stuff. So the second I knew they had an opportunity to get him back or to reverse the trade, it was going to happen. Especially when they're making that playoff push. And thank you, Prince George. You guys did it. You didn't let them in the playoffs. Thunder Chunk, I apologize because you would have been in the playoffs. Probably would have been playing tonight, but unfortunately, your season's done. Um, yeah, I don't know. It is. The league made the decision, and the big thing that screwed me over, that got me done, was I said he was 9 out of 9 in a Discord message. That's what screwed me, because technically he wasn't 9 out of 9 because he missed those games. So that's why that got reversed.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a tough scenario, and like I remember when it first came up, I was kind of like, ah, man, like it's hard where to lean on that one because you're like I have guys that I do the same thing with, where they're like, hey, I'll play like any day, but I prefer to play like these or like prefer to have this day off, and I'm like, yeah, no worries, thanks for being upfront about it, whatever, right? You work something out with them, but like they did say like, hey, I can play whenever. Now, when we talk about Easter weekend, I think for a lot of teams was absolute gong show, right? Trying to make sure, trying to get guys to play and whatnot, and or at least even guys to respond and put their availability in because it's a pretty busy weekend for a lot of people. So it just sucks the timing of that for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I even tried looking at the rule book, and I found a rule that stated that the only time you had to disclose a player's availability is if it was below 5 out of 9. And it was like, there you go. I didn't even need to disclose anything because he's 6 out of 9. So that shouldn't be an issue. And then it ended up, no, didn't matter. And it didn't help that Facchetti was the one that kind of like ruled on it after I like waived him for berries and then traded him, and then I ended up trading berries anyways, and then get berries back. So that probably didn't help the situation, but um,
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. I'm happy. Rizal's a really solid goalie. He just got stuck in a really crappy situation, and he's done well for us. So that's all I can ask of him.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah, damn, you're just screwing with all the bogs, eh? Of course it didn't go your way. You still got the commission on your team. You're not screwing with him at least, but holy moly, taking all the bogs in. Um, Now I guess now we're on it. Like, who did you find like the most difficult team to trade with this season?
Oh God, I'll flat out say it, man. Ottawa. Ottawa's a nightmare to
Hear
deal with.
Ottawa a lot. I know they've
I
come up on every interview so far. That's awesome.
Oh fuck, no, no, no. Let me change that.
Uh oh.
Sorry, Griggs just reminded me. Owen Sound, and it's not Griggs. It was Excel. Excel was an absolute douchebag and a nightmare to deal with. We originally had a sign and trade deal for Ovi on our team. And the deal that I had agreed to with Griggs was I was sending him 2 future TCs of his choice up to the deadline for Ovi. Sign and trade, done. Wanted to get the deal done before bidding, wouldn't do it. Wanted to get the deal done, and then waited for had to wait for that first week to play out. I know LG prevented future trades. I know. Uh, and then we had to wait for that first week, and then all of a sudden it was like it's pulling teeth, man. Excel was a nightmare to deal with. He literally was just like, "No, I want this guy. If I don't get this guy, I'm not doing it. I don't care. This player can eat a ban. I'm not trading him. He agreed to a resign." And I'm like, dude, like that's a douchebag thing to do, right? Like it's just, I don't know. Yeah, Excel was the most difficult to deal with, along with Ottawa. That's
Along
the
with Ottawa.
Griggs wasn't that bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
along with Ottawa, Griggs wasn't that bad.
Hey, Griggs, thanks for getting my interviewee all fired up here. Appreciate it. Jesus. That sounds tough, man. I know there's a bunch of guys that are like that though too, right? Like I want this, I want that. Um, but yeah, they make it tough to deal with. And what was it about Ottawa? Just like lack of response, or
No, it was so before we had the Thunder Chunk deal done, um, we were like borderline having a deal set for Bloodhaven,
Mhm.
where they would have gotten a shit ton more back than what they got because the players they got back can't even play. Like they couldn't even. The one of them was an RV. So um, I mean, that's again, do your homework. They looked at a name, looked at stats, and didn't even realize he was a random assignment. Uh, Took that deal and basically put Bloodhaven on a team for absolutely nothing when they could have gotten a goalie and two roster players back. So it's I mean, it is what it is, but and their management, you got to message all three of them. If you don't message all three of them, it's nothing's getting done. It's like playing ping pong with them. One messages halfway through, the other one stops. And it's just a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I had a little issue with Ottawa this season too. When we made a move with them, but oh man, they come up every time I ask somebody. Even outside of these interviews, they come up. But I guess they live and they learn. We live and we learn, right? Try to avoid Ottawa. It sounds like so. Um,
Exactly.
if there was one thing you could change in LG, what would it be?
Um, I would bring back length of contracts, like contracts. If you're going to be an owner, if you're going to be a manager, um, you know, they need to put management contracts back in place, right? Commit to 2 seasons, um, and then allow the management to, put contracts on guys that they win in bidding or that they want to, right? Let guys keep a core that they've bid on, that they've won on, and then add to that team in the future. I'd like to see that again because the whole roster reset every year, it's annoying because guys just it gets to the point where I did it to Epcot this year. Um, I knew Pastry, who's Epcot's brother in real life, was taking management in Red Deer, and I bid his ass up to 4 million and made them pay 4.25. Like just because I knew he was going to be there, right? Like it's um, if you have somebody that's won and you can get them on a long term deal or a 2 season deal, whatever it is, I think it just allows the league to create more dynasties, right? That's where you see the big dynasty runs in teams. You see management stick around longer, and I think that's how the league grew in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. You ended up getting Ed here in the end too, and I know that you guys have some chem together with Showtime, so that's it all worked out. I guess you saved him from that Red Deer team too, so that's good.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good point, man. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Like, and what makes that different than the protection piece? So, like, how does that differ from like the current process of like protecting guys that you win in bidding?
I mean, the protection piece is great for call ups. That's really the biggest thing. That's the downside. It's kind of like resigns, but they stay at that same contract, right? Like as an example, this season I won Spruce Moose and Drake for 750K. To be able to put those guys on a 2 year contract because I know Dats is going to come back and manage with me again next season is huge. I've got a line set for 1.5 mil. I've got a forward line ready to go, right? Still being able to protect players and re-sign players, whatever it may be, like that's all value that's still there. But being able to kind of think again, think in the future, think long term with your team as an owner it makes you be more precise and more specific on what you do, right? Knowing that I've got a blank cap every year, I'll just get whoever the hell I want for the season, then I'm done. Whereas if I'm planning on keeping guys, I'm going to be a little bit more picky and choosy on who I'm getting.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that's a good answer. Awesome, man. Awesome. That is all the questions I had. So, like I said, I'd leave some time open for you to ask me a question. You get one question. What is it?
I want to know what your prediction is for our series.
Yo, you know what's crazy, dude? Is I thought for sure that was gonna be the question. I don't even know why. I'm like, this guy's gonna ask us what our series is gonna be. Let me tell you something.
Because
So,
you said you don't guess on your series, but I want a flat out answer.
yeah, I'll give you an answer
What team
because.
wins? How
Um,
many games?
all right, so I'll tell you something first before I answer this. Is what was it? My first real season managing in Everett. We had a really good team. We beat Cotes, Kamloops Blazers all season long. 4 games against them, beat them every single time. And I was in Swifty's chat one day, and I said, "Team's confident. We haven't lost these guys all season." They came out and they swept us. So that is literally the only reason I don't ever want to talk about my team in any of my corner posts. I don't ever talk about my team in predictions, but I'm gonna respect that you. That's the question that you asked. Um, damn, this is tough, man. But I will. I'm gonna take the Guelph Storm in 6. That's what I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take my Guelph Storm in 6. I'm pretty confident with our team right now. Um, Nothing against your team. I think your team's obviously unreal. I gotta have faith in the guys that I went out and got, and I made some moves at the trade deadline that I thought was gonna make our team kind of that much better. And although we still have had our struggles, even especially in the last week, I think we did a lot of games together this week, and I think the guys are feeling pretty good. And it's not going to be easy. I can't say it's 100% like that's what's going to happen, but if we're gonna do it, we got to. No different than I think what your strategy is. We steal some games tonight, right? So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to seeing the games tonight. I'll be honest, man. I think tonight might kind of predict how this series might go. If we split tonight, I think it could be very interesting. So I'm super super excited to get it going. And like I said, I knew you would ask this question, and I'm like, tonight, what a better what not like. There's no better guest I could have on tonight, right? To get this conversation sparked. So
listen, it's playoffs, man. It's playoffs. Going against the owner or having the owner that you're going against, it's an absolute beauty. Great way to start.
but yeah, I'll take the Guelph Storm in 6 for sure. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna take the
take.
Kitchener Rangers in five.
Okay, all right, I love it. And
uh, that's it. Now, part two to the question is, how many playoff games is Kahuna gonna win?
damn, bro, I hope I win one. I think you were watching the last one when I had sinking on. I was like, dude, if my team loses, I better at least get one win. I still have not won a playoff game. But hey, just on that note, I went and looked at your CHL playoff stats, and you're 0-3-1 as well. So I'm 0-4-1. So both of us are chasing our first CHL playoff win.
Oh yeah, and it's horrible. I've finished first in the division twice now, so it's
It's the way it goes,
but
man. And there's
it's the way it is.
the one season I probably had the best line I played with. Because of availability, we my line only got to play one game, so it sucked big time. And that's one of the biggest issues I find as we get into playoffs is availability doesn't allow you to keep your lines together, or you're kind of forced to play certain lines on a certain day, and it makes things tough. So
No, no, for sure, exactly.
just looking through chat
Game
here.
seven, chicken legs.
Game 7,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I was gonna call out. Game 7, Spads versus Kahuna. I would not be playing in Game 7. I'll just call that out right now if it ever goes Game 7. It's just so
I
Spads
hold on,
knows
hold
I
on.
am
Let's
not
let's just
playing.
make it let's make it friendly bet. Okay, if this series goes to game seven, we do have you and I put into the game.
I...
And if both of us are 0 and 2, if both of us are 0 and 2, and we go to game seven, we
Oh
both win the
shit.
game, and one of us gets a playoff win for the first time.
Yo, I honestly I respect the hell out of that request, but I'm not putting myself in Game 7. If we get Game 7, I know who's going. So, and I'm sure you could figure out who's gonna go too. But chicken legs, yeah, that's a good call. One of us would get a win. That's why I respect that comment. But I wouldn't be able to do it, man. You're in that game for sure, but I won't be. I won't
No,
be.
I'm not in that game.
I would be if I played with a couple other guys than I have this season, but um, I don't have. There's that one line has really good chemistry and they're buzzing right now, and those would be the guys for sure. So, um, I will spectate like I should, but we got to get there. We got a long 2 games tonight for sure, and see what happens tomorrow. But anything else? I got no more questions. Just trying to read through chat. If chat had any specific questions for Spads here, open it up for a second. Um, while they're maybe typing some stuff out here, Spads. Any prediction outside of who's going to come out of the W?
Out of the W, I think it's going to be Everett.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, they got a pretty strong team.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a random team. I don't want to give it to Portland. Sorry, Chick, but yeah, I think it's going to be Everett.
It's not a bad pick at all. I Portland does have a really good team. They're a good pick. Like I just don't see anyone beating that legend and coach line. But I don't know. There's a few pretty good teams in that. I like the Everett pick, but if I was to take the team I think is going to come out of the WHL, I think I'd actually go with Portland. So what do we got here? Spads, who's the biggest surprise on your team?
Who's that? The Pullout King?
The pullout King's asking that.
Um, all right. Biggest surprise on my team. Um, God. Can I tell you who the biggest surprise is for the wrong reason? Okay, so I'll give you two. Biggest surprise on the roster, I'm gonna give to Salty Kitten. Yeah, he's a goalie. He's a 750K goalie. The guy's got something like I think 8 or 9 shutouts on the season. He's got 20 plus wins, I think. He's an absolute stud. Um, when you got a goalie that can easily win you a game, shut another team out, like it's a huge bonus to have on your team. And when guys aren't playing the greatest, he's picking them up. Um, biggest surprise on my team as a player, I'm gonna say Devo, and not for the reason people think. I'm gonna say Devo because the kid has so much skill, but he's only won one damn game all season. I know he was in Erie, he was wherever else he was, but like the kid's actually good. He's got thumbs, he knows how to play. It's just like he's got this Kahuna curse that he's only won one game all season, and it's shocking to me. It's surprising.
Damn, we're just throwing the Kahuna curse out there like nope, nothing now, eh? That's just like a thing. Chicken's talking about it.
I
You're
saw
talking
Chick
about
say
it.
it. I saw Chick say it, and then I just rolled with it.
No, it's good. And yeah, Salty Kitten's a very, very good goalie. 8 shutouts. I think it said 28 wins when I looked up his stats there. Having a great season, and
Like
he's really good.
it's almost 33% of his games are shutouts. Like that's insane.
Yeah, that's really good. Um, what else we got? Who's Spad's biggest upset in the OHL? Sinking, do you mean like in series? Like who's gonna be the biggest upset? Like is there an upset? I think that's what he means. Let's answer that. So out of this series, what do you think the biggest upset will be?
Biggest upset. Okay, hold on, let me take a look at who's playing who here. In all of the O, um, I think, and it's not even really an upset in my opinion. I think Kingston is going to beat Mississauga. Um, I think Kingston's got a team. Plymmy knows what he's doing when he's building a team, and I think he's just he's stuck in a difficult division. With some top teams in the OHL, and I think that's why he's lower than he is. And he's had it tough playing some of the other teams in the opposite division. So um, I think Kingston over Mississauga is going to be my upset for the first round.
Right on. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I know Plymouth's beating himself up a little bit about his team, but his team's a strong, good team, and they're definitely not going to be somebody that's just going to turn over here. And I think that I have them taking the round two. I don't know, Spaz, do you do the voting? Do you vote on the series on the website or no?
I do not know.
Okay, cool, cool.
I get too into it if I got to do it, and I'm just going to do like a
Fair enough, fair enough.
like a March Madness bracket.
Yeah, it's a little bit of fun though. I just don't vote on my own series. So, any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Chicken's still talking about the Kuna curse. It's a real thing. Yeah, you're not wrong. It is kind of real. Every time I call it a blowout, the team that should get blown out wins. So, but okay, one last question before we shut this out. Still thinking he's asking. Besides CJ, who is your biggest enemy management wise?
Oh man, um, I'm gonna say it like current CHL managers, or can I use a
Yeah,
past?
no, current. Come on, keep it real. Let's
Current,
go.
damn. An 8.
Okay. All right.
I just because like an 8 tried to pull this whole I'm a liar bullshit, and then I didn't tell him that I needed to trade him when I flat out did. Um, Chick would have been last year because he kept bugging me about Super Mario, and I told him to f off. But yeah, no, I would say in 8 this season. He probably has a hatred for me because I moved berries and then I ended up getting berries back. But yeah, I'd say in 8. Sinking's too nice, man. He's can't be an enemy.
I don't know, man. Sinking was on last week, and he is very nice, and he's very,
He's
very nice.
sneaky
But
nice.
he's like too nice though. Sinking's too nice. He kills you with
Exactly.
kindness. You want to tell him to go f himself, and he comes back with like, "Hey, man, it's okay. I'm sorry that I did that," or something like that. And you're like, "Damn, man, why do you gotta be so nice?" But it's nice to have a little bit of
Exactly.
hate in the league, man. Can you imagine going in every game and just being okay if you win or lose? You're like, "Oh, I like that guy. I don't mind losing to that guy." No, you got to say, "Fuck that. I don't lose to certain guys in this league," and you got to have one of those guys. So I'm glad you called someone out. That's sweet. Um,
Yeah.
but hey, let's shut it down. Let's go get our teams sorted out and ready to go for tonight. I'm sure everybody else in here has a lot of work to do as we get into the first week of playoffs. And like I said at the beginning, I appreciate you doing this, man. I think this is a good candid interview too. Like a lot of stuff we're getting out of this one. So appreciate you hopping on, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, and look forward to seeing the rest of the guys, and the guys that have performed me have been awesome as well. So
Awesome.
it's good shit you're doing here.
All right, buddy. Well, take it easy. I mean this and I don't mean it, but good luck. But let's have a good series. Let's make it worth something, eh? Let's make it look like respectable at least. Eh? I know.
Is that a polite way of you asking me to tell them not to shit on you guys?
Yeah, just let me win one game. That's all I'm saying. Just let me win one game. Me.
Mm,
But anyways,
no,
I'm
I'm
just
gonna let them.
hell yeah, hell yeah, man. Let's have some fun and good luck to everybody else that's in playoffs.
Exactly it.
Thanks again, Spads, and I'm sure we'll be talking all week anyways. But appreciate you hopping in last minute doing this one to get our series fired up. Um, and have a great night, man.
For sure, man. You too. Best of luck. Good
Thanks,
luck
man.
to everybody else.
Awesome. Hey, before we get going here, I did do my votes on the website, so I just wanted to call those out for our series for first round. Wolves and Ottawa 67s. I got the Wolves in 5. Generals and Colts. I got the Generals in 6. Steelheads and Frontenacs. I got the Frontenacs in 7. Battalion and Bulldogs. I got the Battalion. They've been so hot at the end of the season. I got the Battalion in 6. Greyhounds and Spitfires. I have the Greyhounds in 4. Spirit and Attack. I got the Spirit in 5. Griggs isn't going to like that one. Firebirds and Sting. I got the Sting in 6. Silvertips and Cougars. Silvertips in 4. Rockets and Blazers. I got the Blazers in 6. Thunderbirds and Winterhawks. I got the Winterhawks in 5. Royals and Chiefs. I got the Royals in 6. Broncos and Ice. I got the Broncos in 5. Pats and Warriors. I've got the Warriors in 5. Blades and Hitman, I got the Hitman in 5, and Hurricanes and Raiders, I have the Raiders in 6. So I just wanted to call that out here before we go into the playoffs. Thanks again to Spads for joining this, and thanks to everybody else who was in chat interacting. Makes it so much more fun, and legitimately best of luck to everybody as you go into your first round of playoffs. And for the guys that are signing up for WJC, good luck there too. Anyways, thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.